Okay, so I will try to continue, and maybe my colleagues Chan and Miroslava will add some more detail. So the translation platform here, as you can see it, you can access it from this web page, from this section where you have to log in, and you have two possibilities. Here you can browse the language version, the Czech version. So this is the result of the translation, and here you can access the translation tool for really making the translation. And here you can do the translation itself. Here at the beginning you can see the overall completion rate, how far your translation is, and on the left side you have the percentage for each item. This is a percentage how complete the translation in each category is and how far you are. Here the orange marks says you that there are some remaining terms to be translated. So, but not in all cases it's really missing the translation, but one can at least do some kind of control over the completeness of translation. And for example, I wanted to show you, because our translation is almost completed in the Czech language. Here is the section which is not completed so far. So here you can see 0 and 0 because this module has not been translated yet. Do you want to add something? No. So when it comes to translation, it really looks like, for example, here you can go, maybe for clarification, we are doing the translation of foundation. So we are doing the translation of all terms which are included in the classification, and the real result when you are browsing the MMS is slightly different. But here we are really going through the foundation and doing the translation of each term which is included in the foundation. As it was mentioned before, there are some gray terms which are parented to another category, so they are translated just on one place. And you will see the translation here, but because it's parented on multiple places, there is just one place where the translation is done. So here is the term is in gray, and for example here it looks like this. The translation, there is a term of in English on the left side, and then you can add your translation. You can also select what should be the title, because in the language, in the target language, the translations may be different, so you can change what should be the title here. Yeah.
Yeah, in the target language, the preference of the terms could be different than in the source language, so you can change it a little bit. Sometimes even the order of the words matters, so sometimes we can make some slight differences in the synonyms with the order of the words, the form of the words, and in the Czech language there are maybe some different form of one word, so we can give them multiple possibilities and select one of them as a title.
Okay, then so you can see that there are titles, that there are synonyms. So you can add as much synonyms. You can translate the already existing synonyms, but you can also add your own synonyms to each term, and you can adapt the translation to the national language needs. So I think it's quite useful for the result. You can you can see the translation in this structure, and you can download the translation as well here when you have the rights. You can download it to the Excel file, and then shall I try it? And this Excel file can be used for some kind of validation and checks. So you can see the label in English, the label in the target language, and the and the property of translation. So if it is a synonym or title or definition or what kind of a term it is, then you can see who did the last change in the translation platform, and then you can see a link to the term in the foundation in the translation platform.
Yeah, I may add the comment that we used both ways how to work with the translation. We used the translation to make the changes in the translation and to add the translated terms, but we also used the export for comparison, for finding errors, typos, and so on, and then we went back to the translation tool and then make the changes in the original translation. We could use the links to translated entities that are included in this Excel file, and we after some slight changes adding the hypertext links to make direct steps to the place where we can make the changes in the translation. I wanted to point out to the blank fields in the Excel. Sometimes there could be blank fields in the English original. This means that the Czech synonyms be added newly as a new synonym, new Czech term, and the other side of the same problem is sometimes the English synonym has not the exact Czech translation, so sometimes there are more synonyms in the English original and less synonyms in the Czech target. There was a question here in good question. What have we already translated? We translated preferred terms, synonyms. We translated descriptions, and we didn't translate the additional information. And the reason was that at the beginning we haven't got it in the export, I think. So we didn't this work because we haven't got the preview of all of this. So we did a translation only what we had in the export. Now there are a little bit extended the possibilities what we can translate, and there are some descriptive parts of information that are extremely full, for example, in the chapter about mental health, there are a lot of descriptive texts, and we will have to find a way how to and when to complete this work. I think that maybe probably in some languages they started with preferred term and synonyms and didn't follow up with descriptions, but this work can be continued and followed.
I'll have to go back. Okay. I just wanted to complete the presentation of this tool with showing you the possibility how to translate the interface. And to be honest, yeah, I have to go home. So if I go to the translation platform again, maybe I will show you the final result of the translation. Here is the translation, and you can see the translated structure of in the Czech language. So this is in fact, this is the result of the translation. Maybe I wanted...
With one exception, you told that we translated the foundation layer, and now what we see is the mortality statistics view on the complete content of the ICD-11.
And here on the translation, on the main page of the translation platform, you have the possibility to translate the user interfaces of ICD-11 software. So if I go to the Czech, you have the possibility to translate, for example, here the browser user interface, and you can adapt the browser to the national language version. So. So you are able to do it like this.
This is the necessary part of the complete translation, because when you want to publish your language version of the classification, also the technical info and text should be translated to the target language.
Yeah. Maybe now I would like to ask Chan if he can maybe add some more information. How often, for example, is the translation platform updated? Or maybe another question, how can we identify newly added items which are newly added to the translation platform into the classification, and which has to be translated?
Yes, the translation platform is live in the sense that it's updated instantly when you make changes in the translation. So when you translate something, it becomes available to everyone who is using the tool. However, the English version that we edit using our authoring tool comes to the translation tool once a day. So every night in European time zone, we get everything that has been made during that day, and then they are applied to the translation platform as well as to the proposal platform and everything that is in the Orange maintenance platform system. So there will be once per day update, but the translations you make are instantly updated. Now the question about seeing what has changed and what remains to be translated. One very quick way to see what is remaining is checking these icons. Green means here that this entity and every child of that entity, so every descendant under neoplasm, is perfectly translated. So there is nothing in this hierarchical location that needs to be translated. An R icon here means there are very few changes that have been made, probably because our colleagues applied a proposal, and there will be a couple of things that you need to catch up with. And when you just click on this R, it will show you where it is, so you don't really need to dig go one by one and try to find where it is. It will just take you there, and when you click on it, it will take you to that location, and in this page, you will probably see what is the missing part. Apparently, there is a new synonym added, which you need to add into the check, or you just say, we don't have this or something. So this is one way. If there is, however, not a green check and not an orange R for remainings, if there is a gray icon, which means there is some content and it gives a number. So there's 50 out of 307, 3,700 entities. There are 50 which needs here and there some updates. And for them, you need to really go and then see where they are by following these R's or gray nodes. So this is one way of checking, especially like in the case of the Czech version, it's already rather complete. So just seeing what remains is a couple of buttons away. The other option here is under the issues, there is a source changed link, which will give you anything in the English that has changed after you made the translation. It might happen, for example, there might be a description which you translated last year, and then a proposal comes and makes that description a little bit more clear, and then they automatically appear here. So what we do is when we save your translation, we save the state of the English version when the translation is made. So whenever we see, and these are all checked again frequently by our system, the system just figures out that this translation is no longer up to date because the English source has changed, and you just find them from here. And this particular list is also updated at certain intervals so that you can have them updated. Sometimes one thing you see might not be up to date because maybe your colleague has already fixed it, and this is not a live list. We don't cross-check this at every instant, but it's done once every couple of days. Therefore, it's a good idea to check this, especially closing when we are close to the release to see what has been done in the English version, which requires your attention. Some of these changes might be just titles. For example, in English, a word might be misspelled and corrected, which doesn't affect. You just need to say, okay, I'm fine with this, and then it will disappear in the next run. The other issue is suggested translations. I don't know whether this is relevant in the case. This happens. This happens when an entity is moved from one location to another. Our system remembers the translation, but still gets your approval on the translation, because with this movement, does it really affect the way you want to see it in Czech is asked you, and it's generally a click from your end to approve that. This happened quite a lot when our colleagues were working on getting the narrower terms and creating new entities for them. So, but nowadays we don't expect this to happen that much. Very rare cases where an entity might be moved to another location, and then you may need to kind of approve the state of the translation. This is the overall features. We also have the commands feature. So if you're working with multiple translators, it sometimes helps that you can attach commands on your translations, and then they can be seen. For example, if one of your colleagues made this translation, another one might just go here and attach a command, and that will be visible to all the parties. So those are the overall important aspects of the translation platform.
I was always wondering, and
yes.
The first time it has to be 92%, there was always 90%. So what is the real meaning of this?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I get that question very often. And yeah, I probably should have made it 100%. It's basically what we call it, it is quality adjusted percentage. And the idea there is, there is this stages of the translation. So we say stage 3 is 100%, stage 2 is 90%, and then stage 1 is, I don't know, 60 or something. It's arbitrary numbers. It just shows that whether everything is at stage 3. By the way, stage 3 is not mandatory. Within your translation, you can say we are working with 1 and 2, and stage 2 is good enough. So in your case, 90 is your 100.
Stage 3
it will go up to the 100 eventually. Yes.
So this was the discussion. I'm sorry, maybe you wouldn't be heard by colleagues because you are far from mic. But it was the discussion about the percentage because on the left side you can see 2 percentages. The right one is to the complete content of the chapter or the section you can click and go through. And the left percentage, mainly in our case, 90% is the, as you told, the weighted.
Exactly, that's the weighted, and it's also, I mean, one number is just for that entity, so what you have in the neoplasms, and the other one is everything underneath, so everything in the neoplasms chapter, and they are both have this weight included in it to show what stage they are in addition to how much it is completed.
Maybe 2 comments. One is we didn't talk about the stages, and we can see in this example that there are the 2 possibilities for the Czech synonyms that are added to the original only 1 English term, and there are 2 different stages for the synonyms. One is in stage 2 and one is in the stage. One is in stage 2 and one is in the stage 3, I think. So maybe this is the cause of the difference of the percentage, 92%. The second comment is that for the Czech synonyms, there is quite new function of giving the information that the term could be deprecated. My comment to all of this is we found out that there is not possibility to give this information that the original translate, not in this example, but sometimes the English term, English title, and its Czech translation, complete translation, is deprecated in the target language. We cannot show this information from outside, and sometimes the in Czech we use different synonym, which is the title in the Czech language. So this is a little bit not uncomfortable, but problematic for us sometimes, very few times, when the Czech translation of the original English title is not preferred.
That is, we have that the second question we handle, and this title, for example, the neoplasms, the direct translation is this one.
Yes.
But if you want this one to be the title in the Czech, you just check this one, and then it will work.
Yeah.
However, if you want the direct translation to be deprecated in the language, we don't have that, and for that is a workaround. Maybe you don't translate that one and add a deprecated one for it as a workaround. On the other hand, it's difficult to, I mean, why the exact translation in English is not deprecated. Of course, there might be many reasons, but at this point, that corner case is not covered by the tool.
Yeah, for us, more important is to having the ability to say that we have another title, not info about the deprecation of the term, but we saw that it's not just like a little inconsistency between the languages. That in English, you have also maybe very good information about some terms are deprecated. In the target languages, the information could be a little bit advanced.
I have a question.
Maybe if you can.
First of all, I think it's amazing that the foundation itself is being translated, because that means we can really now say that we have one standard way for documenting or coding that is all over the world across different languages, irrespective of the language, and that's super amazing. My question is, what happens if the ICD-11 updates in one language lag behind? So, for example, now we have the January 2023 version, right? What if, for example, the Arabic updates for the latest updates for this specific version haven't been done? Does that mean for 1 year we may have the English version in 2023, but perhaps the Arabic version is the 2022, which is the previous version? How does that work?
If it's possible, we generally ask the colleagues who are in charge of the translation of that language. We may omit it in the release, like for example in the 2004 release, one language might be off, so for that language, people might need to go back. But alternatively, we can just release it, and the missing content will not appear, or will appear in English if in such cases. So that's the if I think if at least the titles are translated, the new titles, the number of synonyms and things like that we could live with and still release it. But if the title is even not caught up, then we probably drop that for that release. But so far, the number of updates which change add a new category to the classification is really minimal, and the changes in the foundation are again only affecting the index. So we go with the release. So far we haven't dropped any language. We generally add on, and we warn a couple of months before to catch up with the translations, so that everyone kind of does it. We can also, by the way, once the release is done, the important thing is we fix the actual classification and the foundation. The terms within it, we can catch up. We, for example, updated the Spanish version within the year because there was a very important mistake that had been made, which they wanted to kind of override. As long as the classification hierarchy is not affected, we are able to get another version. And we do, for example, with the pre-release, we certainly do that when the translations is going on. Sometimes the pre-release language, they want to see another update, and we can do it during the year. Still binding to the same release of the classification, but more translations are added or updated.
Raised her hand. Currently, you still have the question?
No, it wasn't a question, but Chan just said exactly what I wanted to say. No, I am not. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So it's just to add to what Chan was saying, that the translators, the people responsible for the translations are alerted, and we have the same schedule every year. And what we said already, that there are very few changes that are highlighted. So before we release, this is why it's very important to stick to the proposal platform schedule, and then to the release schedule, and to the implementation schedule. That is helpful for the translators to know every year at the same time this is coming. They finalize the few things that they need to update, and then they can be published with the release in January or latest February. So that's why it's very important, and we always emphasize the importance of following the schedule and the voting rounds and the things that I'm going to talk about next in my presentation.
I may add, the more languages ready, the more work with the updates and synchronization of the updates occur. And before we will release the Czech revision, we have to make our plan for every year updates and having be in line with the updates. I have two more comments, if I may, because we didn't show the changes how it is shown maybe directly in the, for one example, acute ST elevation myocardial infarction. There are some, in this case, small changes in the description, and in blue there are new text or characters, and in the red crossed is the old that was replaced. And this is one thing I wanted to add. And the second thing, if we wanted to show the autism spectrum disorder, for example, the new synonym, if we don't want to have this synonym translated for the Czech translation, we have to sign that we push this to the next stage without the Czech translation. This means that this will have no Czech translation, and then we can have it in the export as marked. This is not translated and will be not to be translated. This. So we went through this agenda item to show you the translation too and our experiences with it. And thank you, Chan, very much for adding again something new for us. I hope maybe for other colleagues from other countries that are preparing their translation also some new information